After a couple brutal home losses, the Warriors bounced back against the G-league Grizzlies with an overall solid team effort. I want to focus specifically on Chris Paul's performance, who had 14 assists with 0 turnovers while exploiting pick and rolls with Trayce Jackson Davis. Let's see how CP3 keeps his insane assist-to-turnover ratio so high. Here Paul is on the left wing, directing traffic with his eyes on the action on the right side of the court. Clay is running off of 2 separate pin downs, but with LaRavia in an initial deny position, he chooses to shoot the gap at the last second to prevent the 3-ball. Paul gets the ball at the right time for Clay and TJD to counter this aggressive defense, as Jackson Davis immediately sets an empty side pick and roll for Thompson to attack the right, with Memphis big in a drop. Now Clay does the rest by letting his defender fly by before reloading for a midi. CP3 attracts so much attention, but he always keeps his poise to find the best option. Here TJD comes for the pick and roll for the point guard to attack the middle of the floor, and with him not being the biggest shooting threat, Memphis is playing a drop while letting the guard recover over the screen. With Jaren Jackson on the weak side covering a non-shooter in GP2 and in the position to help, CP3 picks up his dribble and completely freezes a defense with multiple options to choose from. His ability to process all this in midair is incredible, as he finds GP2 losing his man in Jackson Jr. and cutting right to the basket. Last second drop off pass is delivered floater in the paint. Another example of perfect passes while caught in the air. We got a pistol action with Clay setting that initial screen, allowing Paul to have an advantage on his defender when he gets the next dribble handoff by Jackson Davis to attack the middle of the floor. With CP3's man chasing behind the screen, now we essentially got a pick and roll that leads to a switch. Paul now knows that TJD has a small defender on him, so he picks up the dribble again and sees TJD point for the lob. Underrated ability to time this high arching pass perfectly past Jemison's outstretched hands to a place only Jackson Davis can catch, and the big man finishes the uncontested bucket. In the first play, Chris Paul has an open area but continues to put pressure on the defensive rotations by swinging to a much better shooter in Clay, who knocks the midi down. On the very next possession after a made basket, Paul pushes a semi-fast break and is able to calculate Memphis losing track of their own man, and glances first at Moses Moody before dropping a no-look pass to an open Draymond for the layup. That's completely insane. Again, good shot for a better shot. Wiggins should have taken this wide open one here, as we know, but the swing to CP3 is also pretty much wide open. Paul is able to freeze the defenders again by spending 1 second to survey the court and possibly Klay Thompson on the baseline, before making a bounce pass away from the outstretched short arms of Desmond Bane. Now Wiggins catches in rhythm to knock this down. Pick and roll masterpiece here by Chris Paul. Draymond comes for the high pick and CP3 reads Jaren Jackson Jr. in the big drop position. Credit Dre for rolling to the basket at the right time to not only prevent the moving screen call, but also shield his defender on the left side of his body. Paul then dribbles as if he was going to shoot his patent midi before pulling Jackson out to contest the shot and dropping this dime through 2 defenders to Green for the layup. He can also make a bucket or two, even though he's not a shoot-first guard as we know. With Steph creating an advantage on the shot fake into a double team, now we have a 2-on-1 advantage on the weak side for Desmond Bane to X out on. First swing pass to Wiggins, and Bane processes this almost in time to play the passing lane, but credit him for that extra pass to CP3 as he knocks down a wide open corner 3 ball before the shot clock winds down. Look at the patience here again. He does not take that first look but waits for Jackson Davis to come for an empty side pick and roll. With Memphis playing the same coverage as the big stays and drop with Conchar fighting over the screen, we witness the vintage Chris Paul spin dribble as the master uses this move to trick defenders into thinking he's passing to the roll man, but this move actually creates additional space for him to dribble into a rhythm fadeaway mid-range jump shot. Another pistol action, this time with Pajensky and TJD. The Grizzlies are not switching on ball screens as we know, so this second pick and roll with the rookie leads to Memphis dropping the big man like always and letting the guard to recover. Because earlier this video I showed a similar action where Paul forced a switch and lobbed to TJD, this time GG Jackson is so focused on the roll man, CP3 counters this coverage by fake passing before pulling into his patent mid-range jump shot. This is incredible IQ. The guy just reads spacing in a different way. The patience once more did not force an initial shot, but wait for the pick and roll with Jackson Davis. With the big in drop and the threat of the roll man, very poor choice by Laravia to position himself in the help, while he is solely responsible for the entire right side of the court and a deadly shooter in Klay Thompson. CP3 sees this coverage and fires a bullet pass to Klay to not only catch in rhythm, but also step forward to get momentum on this three-point shot. I just can never get enough of CP3 and Jackson Davis pick and rolls this game. Nice job by the rookie to reposition himself in another screen for Paul to attack with his right. But with the defenders knowing he had just pulled up for a mid-range jump shot, now Jackson Jr. comes up higher to show and tries to reach with his hands. I can't explain how difficult this is for a 6-foot point guard to thread the needle with a one-handed bounce pass that gets Jackson Davis to attack with momentum on this top layup. If it's not broke, don't fix it. High pick and roll again with Jackson Davis, and Jackson Jr. is in a drop, but here he is playing both the shot and the pass. Somehow CP3 feels that the guard is so far behind trying to recover. He fakes this floater that gets Jackson Jr. to stun, but actually becomes an alley-oop. But this is all the rookie as he gets fouled for this and one dunk / layup. He's got the second highest assist to turnover ratio in the league this season for good reason. Here we have an initial back screen by Klay to find Wiggs a lob, but the second action turns into a DJG pin down. The Grizzlies are not switching off-ball screens like we mentioned, so the guard is forced to chase. Solid pick by Jackson Davis to create much needed additional spacing, and Paul does the easy job by finding a short pass for Klay for the catch and shoot three. I keep mentioning this guy is 6 foot, by the way. Another pick and roll with Jackson Davis, but this time due to the lack of spacing on the strong side, the Grizzlies actually double him. But this leaves the rookie free room to roll to the rim, and the weak side help in Aldama has to come over and try to tag Jackson Davis. However, Wiggins is now wide open on the weak side, and I think Memphis was trying to let this happen anyway, but Chris Paul swings this right to the shooting pocket for a catch and shoot by Wiggs. Imagine throwing an alley-oop pass from the logo. Kuminga comes for the pin down, but this was clearly a decoy, as both Grizzlies are focused on the shooter. JK sees the position of Aldama and slips this at the last second to cut right to the basket. And what a flawlessly placed pass for the alley-oop dunk, and CP3 was on the same page the entire time. One more midi for good luck in the rest of the season. Another pick and roll with Jackson Davis, none other, and Memphis is probably tired of this, so they play an easy switch. Now CP3 has got 6'10" Defensive Player of the Year in Jackson Jr. guarding him and sees barbecue chicken. Couple of tween dribbles to get in rhythm and steps back for a clean 20-footer, and that's the point guard for you. There you guys have it. With a depleted Grizzlies roster who the Warriors had lost to earlier in the season, it was Chris Paul who showed up with 14 assists with 0 turnovers. CP3 was able to create advantages with his favorite pick and roll partner in Trayce Jackson Davis by finding shooters, lobbing to the roll man, and also occasionally pulling up for his own shot. This was a must win in the race to get out of the 9-10 spot and to bounce back after the last couple embarrassing home losses. We can always rely on the point guard for productive play, so if you guys like this breakdown, like and subscribe to see more.